For centuries, there's been this mystical path, right? An inner journey that promises a kind of profound awakening. Well, today, we're going to dive right into the heart of that tradition, Sufism. So, get this. There's this radical idea from a foundational figure in early Islam. It goes, men are asleep. They wake up when they die. I mean, just think about that for a second. It suggests that our everyday life, this whole thing we're doing right now, is basically a dream. And that true reality, that only really hits us after we die. It's a really powerful, kind of provocative way to kick things off.
And that, of course, leads to the big question, is it possible to wake up? Now, while we're still alive. Can we actually shake off this spiritual sleep? For a whole lot of people, the answer is a resounding yes. And that yes is found on the very path we're exploring today.
So, what exactly is this path? Well, at its core, Sufism is a journey, and it has a very, very clear destination, the ultimate truth, or God. But it's not just some philosophy you read in a book. Oh no, it is a full-on transformative process. What I find so fascinating about this definition is how active it is. This is not about passive belief. It's about actively freeing yourself from human vices and consciously acquiring angelic qualities. It's like a complete re-engineering of the self, all to live in total harmony with the divine. Now, that phrase, self-annihilation, I know, it can sound pretty intense. But here's the crucial point. It doesn't mean you just stop existing. It means annihilating the ego, that self-centered part of us, so that your actions aren't guided by your own little desires, but by the divine will itself. You know, every great journey needs a map. And for the Sufi traveler, this map has two totally essential, interconnected layers. You've got the outer landscape, and you've got the inner terrain. Let's take a look at how they guide the way. Think of it like this. The Sharia, or Islamic law, that's your physical map. It gives you the structure, the rules of the road. But Sufism, that's the spirit of the law. It's the deep understanding of why you're even on that road in the first place. One is the body, the other is the soul. You really can't have one without the other. And this is so important because it's a huge misconception that these two are separate. For the true traveler on this path, they're called a salik. Following those outer rules is the actual vehicle they use to get to the inner spiritual reality. They're two sides of the same coin. Okay, so we've got the map. But what does the journey itself actually look like? I mean, what are the practical steps a traveler, who's often called a dervish, really takes on this road of transformation? Let's be clear, this is a demanding, multi-stage process. It's not a weekend retreat. It starts with a solid foundation in the faith, and then it moves into some really intense self-discipline, renouncing the ego, purifying the heart from all its worldly attachments, and actively trying to build up virtues. It's basically a complete spiritual workout. And all of this is guided by these core principles. You know what's so striking to me? It's how outward-facing they are. This isn't about just sitting alone and contemplating your navel. It's about overflowing with a divine love for everyone and consistently putting the well-being of others first. It's not a selfish quest at all. It's a path of profound service. So, we've looked at the path and the process, but what about the traveler themselves? I mean, what does it even mean to be a Sufi? Well, the name itself actually holds some really cool clues about this identity. And there isn't one single, simple answer. There are actually a few compelling theories, and each one points to a different side of the path.
And what's really interesting is how each of these theories reveals a core value. So you have Saf, which means wool, pointing to the simple cloaks of the early ascetics, a sign of humility. Then there's Safa, or purity, which of course reflects that central goal of purifying the heart. And Safa connects them back to this early community known for being totally dedicated to knowledge and simple living. And this gives us a historical anchor, which is great. The term wasn't just theoretical. It actually came into use to describe real people who were living this way. By the 2nd century of Islam, guys like Abu Hashim al-Kufi were being recognized for this very distinct spiritual focus. So, this brings us full circle, right back to where we started. The entire journey, all the discipline, the love, the purification, it's all leading toward a very specific state of being. This is it. This is the destination, wakefulness. And no, it's not about never sleeping physically. It's about a state where your heart, the very core of your being, is just perpetually conscious and aware of the divine presence, no matter what your body happens to be doing.
A saying from the Prophet Muhammad just perfectly captures this whole goal. My eyes sleep, but my heart does not. I mean, that's the ultimate expression of it, right? A consciousness that is so completely reoriented towards the divine that it never, ever forgets. It is always awake.
So when you boil it all down, Sufism is a map for a marathon to the infinite. It's this incredibly detailed guide for a profound inner transformation. And it kind of leaves all of us with a question, doesn't it? Whether we follow this specific path or not, what is the journey that our own heart is truly on?